So who are the most at risk? And first I'll show some Portugal data. And you can see here that there is a mortality spike. This is a severe infection for sure. And there's a mortality spike across the whole population, all age groups. And that's clear. But if you look at just under 65-year-olds, there is no real mortality spike versus previous years. So it's all the same data. So the lag is kind of accounted for, but it emphasizes who's more at risk over 65. And someone actually pulled the data for over 75 versus under 75. And if you look at the mortality spike for all ages, again, we see it here compared to 2018, and it's certainly jumped up in April, as expected. But when you look at under 75, same data, there's no real spike at all, hardly. So it's not that younger people aren't exposed to potential risk and to tragic outcomes. Of course they are, because we're talking about hundreds of millions of people in the world and a very potent infection. But it's important to see who the most at risk are and to be, well, data centric on this. So Switzerland is just another example. Here we've got over 65s specifically, and there's obviously a big spike in April as expected. But under 65s, hardly a blip. So it emphasizes the point. And Boston data is actually excellent, and I'll just show it here. The average age is 81. You can see from their nearly 2,000 deaths, a huge bias towards older age groups, and below 60 really very low rates, but still tragedies occurring, absolutely, but relatively speaking enormously lower rates or impact. Just showing a little more of Boston, they're actually kind of going through their hump now, coming out the other side, they're reporting. And it's a good point to look at the demographics of who's most impacted, because they're kind of coming through. And again, the graph I just showed, enormous age bias and also underlying conditions. 97.5% of the tragic deaths so far had one or multiple actually underlying conditions.